Hey guys, so I am at a location. I'm at Montezuma's castle, and I'm going to hit up Montezuma's well as well. No pun intended. But I know that this isn't necessarily abandoned. It's more of a historical site, and that's why I'm doing this, is because I want more people to go to national parks if they're able to, and get the history that they need about America alone. And it's so beautiful out in all these different parts, and I'm just hitting up Arizona alone. So Montezuma's Castle, Montezuma's Well, and Tuzigoot are all kind of intertwined into each other. So Montezuma's Castle and Montezuma's Well are roughly about 10 miles apart, and they're out in Camp Verde area, as well as Tuzigoot is more in Cottonwood. So there's a little bit of a difference between the three locations, but not much, and it's so beautiful. I've been to I've been to Montezuma's Castle and Tuzigoot a couple times, and Montezuma's Well will be the first time that I've ever been there, but it's really supposed to be beautiful. So a little history on the castle is, we'll do the castle first and then I'll do the well, is that it brings you into the world of the southern Sinaguas of Verde Valley, which was formed hundreds of years ago. I'm reading a little excerpt from a little guide that they give us. But for thousands of years, these hunters, gatherers, they roamed the Verde Valley area. They were more about the agriculture and the architecture that influenced the neighboring tribes, I guess is the correct term to use here, which the tribes were the Hohokams and the northern Sinaguas. The first permanent settlers resembled those of the Hohokam culture from southern and central Arizona between 700 and 900 CE, Common Era. Some of the Hohokam moved north into the valley. They grew corn, beans, squash, and cotton using techniques like canal irrigation, which is what we use nowadays, and it's really before their time compared to how we are now. They also made their red on buff pottery and ball courts, so that's pretty cool. They had the way that at Montezuma's Castle, you can see where they built these homes, and they built it into the mountain so that they can overlook their crops and where they need to go. And what's beautiful, and you'll see, is that the water runs beneath them so that they can see it. And they had different levels so that they could, one area would be like the common, one level would be like the common area for everybody in the tribe, and then you'd each have your own little homes or rooms, and that would be where you lived with your family. They made sandals out of the surrounding trees and bushes and stuff. That's how they made their sandals, so they could get around and not hurt their feet. They would also be barefoot a lot of the time. Far different than what we are now. But northern Sinagua culture centered around our present day Flagstaff, which is 2 hours north of where I currently live. and it clearly influenced above-ground masonry dwellings that appeared about 1125. Small structures, later pueblos, those that built into ancestral Puebloan people living in North Mongolian Rim, rose along major streams. The southern Sinagua began building larger pueblos, often on hilltops or cliff alcoves, in 1150. So Montezuma Castle and Tuzigoot reached their maximum size in the 1300s and were occupied for another century. No one knows why the southern Sinagua merged away from their pueblos by the early 1400s. It may have been overpopulation, depletion of resources, disease, conflicts within the groups, climate change, or perhaps spiritual beliefs. Whatever the reasons, many southern Sinagua likely migrated northward onto Pueblo villages. Others may have stayed in the Verde Valley and returned to hunter-gatherer ways. Irregardless, everything that you're about to see, from their pottery to everything, the way that they lived and how they survived, is purely amazing, because we've gone away from that throughout the years. Even how we hunt nowadays is different, for obvious reasons, than it was thousands of years ago. But it's really beautiful, and I hope you enjoy this video. I'm not sure if I'm going to do Montezuma Castle and Montezuma Well in separate videos or together. But I'll determine that as I go on. Have a good view of this video. Thanks. Hey guys, so I decided to take advantage of today and not that it matters to me, but a national park that's free and nearby. So I came out to Montezuma's Castle, which I have personally been to a couple of times, but I have never been to Montezuma's Well, at least that I have any memory of. So, and to give you an idea, I will insert a map, but the well is 10 miles, 9.9 miles from the castle, to give you an idea. I came up on a ruin going out to the castle, or I apologize, to the well. So I am going to take some photos and video of all that. But I know this place is not necessarily abandoned. It is a national monument, but it's part of our history, so therefore that's why I am posting about it, just to kind of give you an insight of what, for those of you who don't know, who have never been to this monument, an idea of how our ancestors used to live several hundred, even thousands of years ago, before we had cars, bikes, everything like that, and how these are Indians. They had to hike everywhere, barefoot and everything, to get where they needed to go, to get what they needed to do. So that gives you an idea how modernized we are and how spoiled we really are. I hope you enjoy. Thanks. So here is a ruin on my way out to the well. Very historical. And I did take pictures of this information so that you guys can pause it. But this is what it used to look like before they put an awning, such as what it is now, in here. It was all adobe, all sticks, quote unquote. It's actually wood.
Oh, maybe. I was looking at that one. The one that's swimming off. They're too big. They're too big.
I'm at Montazuma's well, and I'll post the photo, but there is a dwelling over there, and then you can kind of see people walking down over here, and you can come down and end right over here, and there's some dwellings over there as well. This well is 55 foot deep, and 1.5 million gallons goes in, and 1.5 million comes out. It stays at a steady 76 degrees year round, which is awesome considering that right now it's 47 degrees out, and I'm hot, but you can kind of see the trail kind of coming down right over here too. This is so beautiful. You can hear the water. There we go. There's the water. Oh, these stairs are gonna kill me. So beautiful. Hey guys, a little more information on Montezuma's castle that I forgot to put. So, like I said, it was the Southern Sinagua and a bunch of other tribes that kind of merged together, but this one's saying Southern Sinagua farmers built this 5-story, 200-room dwelling sometime between 1100 and 1300. It occupies a cliff recess 100 feet above the valley. Early American settlers marveled the structure. They assumed the Aztec origin, hence Montezuma. A short distance west, nudging a cliff basis, is Castle A, which you will see now badly deteriorated. It was once an imposing 5-story apartment-like building with about 45 rooms. Occupants found reliable water in the creek and fertile land on the nearby terrace. I will say that now that I'm also gone to Montezuma's Well, that Montezuma's Well is beautiful. It also has some dwellings in there as well, and you will see that. It stays year-round, a constant 76 degrees, and it's about 55 feet deep at its deepest point. It doesn't rise above or go below what its current water level is, because it has a natural flow. So if we get a lot of rain or a lot of snow that comes through, that water that flows into the well will actually end up, if it gets past a certain level, will go through little channels and keep it at the level that it's at. They do have 5 species of marine life that lives in there. One of the deadliest leeches is one of them, and then shrimp is another one. We did have some people that on 2 different occasions that actually scuba dived down to the deepest point, and this is also a fresh water well. It's a spring. Montezuma Well has a surprise of a lake and lush vegetation in the midst of a desert. It is a limestone sink formed long ago, still fed by continuous flowing springs. The southern Sinagua irrigated crops with its waters. In places, you can see terraces of lime-coated irrigation ditches. The pit house on view dates from about 1050. Southern Sinagua dwellings here range in size from 1-bedroom houses to large pueblos. Between 1125 and 1400, about 100 to 150 people lived here. Just to kind of give you an idea of the population. And it's really beautiful. You'll see a lot of ducks in the water, and it's just really cool. And I will put photos as well as video in it. There's different areas, and it's just, in my opinion, it's very relaxing. So I can kind of understand why, even though people who lived here at that time used this as work, obviously, but it's very beautiful and it's very relaxing looking back these days. And just, I find myself in awe of knowing how people lived. And it's just, we've got it good nowadays compared to what they lived in thousands of years ago. But again, I hope you enjoy the video and you get the history. Please feel free to stop and read the signs and get the video, pause the video so that you can read the signs, because there's a lot of history in those as well. I enjoy, please.
Put my headset on the driver's side. I may be down some kind. Okay. Okay. Great. I like this place too much.
Alright, so I'm at Tuzigoot, and to kind of give you an idea of the layout, this is one of the rooms. Now this is the inside of the same rooms that you would see at Montezuma's Well and Castle. And that's just to kind of give you an idea. Of the view they would have overlooking their land. Here's their view overlooking their land. So this is what I was saying when they overlook their crops and everything and hunt and stuff. And then you get snow. It's actually really beautiful out here. I will give more history on Tuzigoot as well. So I am at the top point of the adobes in Tuzigoot, and it's so beautiful. This is just an aerial. And if you can see, let's see if I can get it. There's some water. There's a little creek that runs behind me right here. And then right in this area, you should be able to see one of the rock quarries, and then some farmland, and then more fields. This is what they looked out to. It's beautiful. It's kind of dead right now because it's winter, but it's still beautiful. Alright, so back behind me, you should be able to see some water right here. That's one of the areas where they got water for their crops. And the farm should be, actually it's right there. And then there's their fields. And then there's the hill. And they are on both sides, over here and right up here. The scenery. Here's some more crops. Where they kept them and stuff like that is right here behind me, and you can kind of see how they been separated. But, this is how people survived thousands of years ago. It is a beautiful day too. Hey guys, so I am trying to take a walk as close to the water that you see right in this area, right there, as I can. Some of it's closed off because they had a recent fire, and it's a 3/4 mile loop, but they had a lot of wildlife here and still do. But I'm going to include some photos and stuff. Keep in mind, it is end of February, so the last 2 weeks of February. So there's a lot of, it looks dead, but it's because of the fact that it's winter. But as I said, I'm trying to get as close to the water as possible. One of the water ponds that they use to irrigate their crops. You can kind of see Tuzigoot, the castle that I was just in, is right there. But I'm taking pictures of things and videos, and you'll be able to see that in the video. But it is a very beautiful day. It is windy, a little windy, breezy, I would say, but it's just really beautiful. I'm not sure if this is going to be in the video or not, but I'm going to hit up a railway as well, which is obviously long after Tuzigoot. Hey guys, so I made it down to as close as I can get to the marshlands, which are right there behind me. So the animals and the people who lived here used everything, from the plants, the vegetation, to eat, to live off of, and that also includes things like the marshlands. Used the bacteria like the scat and dead plants basically as well to fuel the bacteria that they needed for more reproduction and everything, for everything to continue down its natural cycle. So one thing that, so at one of the information boards, and I can speak to this as well, the country is good having rivers, marshes, and forests. On the banks of the river are many Castilian grapes, walnuts, flax, blackberries, maguey plants, and prickly pears. It is a warm land and there are parrots. So centuries ago, many of the marshes existed in the Valley Verde, or Verde Valley. My apologies. Today, as wetlands have been drained and filled for development, and pastures, marshes like this one are rare in Arizona. The parrots, believed to have been thick-billed parrots, disappeared from the American Southwest by the 1930s due to hunting and habitat destruction. Although this marsh has undergone numerous changes over time, it continues to offer food and shelter for many different species. Hey guys, so I'm going to speak on some of the vegetation that was used to live off of, like the plants. So one of the things that they lived off of was cactus, prickly pear to be more in particular. So I have prickly pear at my house and grew up with prickly pear. You can make a bunch of things, salads out of the ears, the berries, or the fruit, I should say, that is up on the top of it. You can make a bunch of stuff. We've made margaritas, we make jams, jellies, whatever you want to call it. You can make smoothies, you can make alcoholic drinks, you can make regular drinks out of them, and it's actually very good. I've had the ears the variation that I've had it in was in a salad, and it actually was not bad. It was years ago that I had it, and I know that there's a bunch of different ways that you can make it, but I have put in a photo of one of the prickly pear cacti that's here at Tuzigoot, and you can actually see that one of the ears has a chunk taken out of, and that's from the wildlife around here. Probably because it's so low to the ground, it's more like the javelina, which is a boar or a pig. It's in that sort of family, because that's how they get. It's a lot of water and it's a lot of fibers. Or like tortoises eat it and stuff like that. The desert tortoises, that's some animals that eat it as well. The reptiles and stuff. There's a whole bunch of animals that'll eat it. They actually have, and there was nothing around, but they have a plant that you can drink tea out with. You can make tea with. Like I said, there's no real plant of that because it kind of died off in the winter. So but I'll try to find an image and put that in there. But yes, they used a lot of things, including they probably put like wheat, there's corn, beans, things like that they used to eat as well. That's what they grew out here, along with a slew of other things. So they lived off their land, something that we don't do anymore. We rely on our farmers to do that. And we're actually starting to take that away from our farmers as well, which is kind of sad. But being here is just absolutely beautiful. Again, this is the surroundings. So it's just, you got a slew of animals. You've got deer, small like weasels, raccoon, birds, all sorts of animals that live out here as well that they shared the land with. and they probably hunted those bigger animals as well so that they can have meat in their diets and live off of that as well.